So this one is a real treat for you because this is the best F1 races in the 2020s.
Okay.
So 2020 is the first time I really followed F1 season, and 2021 was the last time I did that. So I have very little context, but I took help from the internet for this. So my first one, so I think you will have to guide me and the audience with your logic even more in this
Yeah.
case. So my first one is Hungaroring 2021.
Oh, this race was very chaotic at the start because I think into turn one, uh, Valtteri Bottas, he basically couldn't brake and he went straight into Sergio Perez, and then Perez went straight into Max Verstappen. So that was one incident, and Lance Stroll, we went and crashed into Leclerc. So there was a big mess at the start, and then the safety car was called. So Hamilton was in the lead, and Esteban Ocon found himself in P2 after all the mess. And then as the safety car came in, it was time for a standing start, and that's when everybody else spit except Lewis Hamilton. So he was the only driver on the grid. It's a very funny photo that's very famous on the internet. But I think that was pretty much it for the chaos because after that the race was boring because Esteban Ocon he won the race and Vettel was in P2 but he was chasing him pretty much for the entire race and Hamilton was climbing back up so it was okay. It was not very exciting after the first few laps. So I'll put it in number 4.
Okay, so the next one is Singapore 2023.
Hmm. This race, if I'm not wrong, Carlos Sainz won it, and Verstappen and Perez both of them were starting in the lower places because Verstappen, I think, they both had a very bad qualifying session, and the end was very famous because we had Hamilton, Russell, Lando Norris, all three were chasing Sainz, and Sainz strategically gave DRS to Norris so that Russell wouldn't overtake Norris and then overtake Sainz. So he played that very smart, and then after the race, he said that it was his first smooth operation in Ferrari. So, and that was the only race that Red Bull didn't win in 2023. So, this was quite iconic. But I don't think the race itself was very exciting. It was a bit of a slow burner, and then at the end, we didn't really have a lot of overtakes, but these four cars were together. But apart from that, I don't think anything special happened. So, number 5.
Okay, so my next one would be Saudi 2021.
That was a very good race. I think that's the race where Verstappen and Hamilton they were fighting each other for literally the entire race. And Verstappen he kept dive bombing into turn one and he went off the track a few times. And then at the end, finally, they made him give the place back to Hamilton, and he did it in a very weird way where he just braked suddenly, and then Hamilton didn't know that. He didn't know that Verstappen was giving the place back, so he crashed into him. And it was both the sides, both the garages were very angry and very fuming, so it was quite tense. So I think I'll give it number 2.
Yeah, after that description, I thought you would go for number one for this. So my next one is uh, Abu Dhabi 2021.
So yeah, everybody knows this race. But I'm actually going to be a bit controversial but a bit more logical, I think. I'm going to put it in number three because I feel 95% of the race was very boring, where Hamilton was clearly faster that day and he had built up a 10-second lead. And even though Perez held him up after the first pit stop, he still came out ahead of Max and then again built up the lead. And then obviously what happened at the end happened and Hamilton lost that championship and the race controversially. But apart from that, I don't think that race was any exciting. It was just the last 2-3 laps that were, and they were not even exciting. They were just controversial.
Yeah, I I think for anyone who isn't really into F1 or into the dynamics of F1, I think nothing can beat that excitement. But
Yeah,
I think if you have the knowledge of the game or the sport, I think then it makes sense.
yeah. In
It
that
wasn't.
race, at one point, I remember Christian Horner. He was being interviewed, and he said that only God can help Max Verstappen now because there was no chance that they could win. And then suddenly the safety car came out, and then the things happened.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and that was the peak of my F1 viewing experience. So the only one left is Monza 2020.
This was definitely an exciting race because Hamilton was supposed to dominate this race, but he entered the pit lane when it was supposedly closed and he wasn't allowed to enter, which is why they gave him a 10-second stop and go penalty, which meant he went to the back of the grid, and then it meant that Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz were leading the race, and they both were actually fighting pretty well. Sainz, I think, overtook Kimi Raikkonen first, and then he was very close to overtaking Gasly at the end. So in that sense, it was exciting, but I'm sure there was nothing at stake compared to the 2021 Abu Dhabi and Jeddah Grand Prix. So I think I messed up a bit, but Monza is definitely it was an exciting race.
Yeah, so that is your list. I honestly, uh, the kind of F1 fan I am, I would have placed Abu Dhabi 2021 at the top because
Yeah,
of the overall context and even the controversy played a part in it being one of the most iconic races.
yeah,
But other than that, I think even I can agree with the rest of the list. Just swapping
yeah.
Monza for Abu Dhabi.
I kind of thought that you would have had maybe Silverstone 2021 or Brazil 2021, but you went with Monza. I didn't see that coming, but in the hindsight, I think I should have done what you said and placed Abu Dhabi at the top.
Yeah,
So yeah, good start. That was a nice list and something of an excitement for me.